So I wanted to talk a little bit about these khyber pass pistols, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what they are and some things to look out for them. I have two examples here, what I believe to be two examples of them. But these khyber pass pistols they're guns that are usually souvenir pieces out of Afghanistan. At the markets and that, they sell them pretty widely, and a lot of tourists and stuff who go visit, they'll find these, and these are also able to be exported to most countries in that, so it's really no problem getting them through customs and all that, because they're antique pistols and they are antiques. A lot of times these guns are put together, and some people think that they're actually made in Afghanistan, and the parts and everything are just sort of handmade, and they're almost like toys or just display pieces. But these guns usually aren't the ones I've come across, anyways. And so I'll go over the two that I have. This first gun here looks to be probably early to mid 18th century. It would probably be an English cavalry pistol. What is on it is a really nice stock, and that's about all that is the original gun. You'll see that the lock it has, it looks very rough, and it does look handmade, but this lock is actually, it probably did match the barrel at one time, but it's a converted flint, what I believe is a converted, I don't know definitively, but it's a converted flintlock lock plate. You can see where the old holes here have been filled in, where the pieces, the springs, and the other linkage has been filled in, which is a very common, if you don't know anything about black powder pistols, it was a very common conversion to go from the flintlock to the percussion pattern, which this gun now is, back in the early 1800s era. So this plate and the hammer, in that they're original pieces off of original guns, and this plate would date back probably into the mid to late 1700s. It's an original plate. Obviously it's not in great condition, but the stock is from a much later gun, possibly mid 1850s, and it's in much better shape. And the barrel also, it has a octagon style barrel, and it has some kind of scrolling work done to it, which at one time it was very nice. I think the barrel is about 60 caliber, and it might even be off of a rifle. It doesn't, you can see how the hammer doesn't line up with the nipple at all, and this is something to look for on these pistols also. There's some really easy giveaways on whether it's original pistol or it's just sort of been made of parts. It's the fit of the lock is probably going to be the biggest giveaway, because it's very hard to get these locks to seat in there to find the proper one, and it's very easy to tell with all these gaps in that. Some other things, if you see how rough this piece of brass here, how it's a really rough casting, this part either isn't an original part and they made this casting piece and put it on there just sort of for looks, and the trigger is also a handmade part, but you can see how rough they were, because if this was an original military pistol, European made, they would never put something very cheap like this. Probably this plate here was an original, they had an original plate and then they just recast it a bunch of times to make these khyber pass pistols. But things like this butt cap is I'm almost sure that it's probably original. You can just see the way it fits into the stock so well, unlike the lock mechanism. And it's also, this one is missing the little, there would be a lanyard loop here. And same goes for these parts. You can see how rough they are. They're probably, this was probably an original piece that was recast. This piece of metal here, it may have been off of another gun, or they may have hand worked it and then it's been put in with nails, which is another giveaway on these guns. The way that the nails are little handmade nails and that, and they just don't look original. I don't think it's a big deal or anything though. But this barrel, if you notice, they've dovetailed in a front sight to it, and also there's a hole on the bottom. This barrel originally had something here to secure it to a stock of possibly a rifle, and then they just added the sight later. But with this gun, the big giveaway of it is the lock is functioning, but nothing secures the barrel to the gun other than the nail at the front. So this gun is definitely just a copy, a put together piece. And also right here, there's supposed to be a tang or a way for the barrel to fit into the stock, and that's been removed off of this barrel, so there's no way to secure it down. Also, you can see the broken piece and then how bad the fit originally was. The other side, it has damage, but the stock actually was quite nice at one time, and it could be salvageable if you found better parts. But this gun is purely a tourist made item. It's possible it could be made to fire by someone with more expertise in this thing, in these type of things, but this is very much a display piece now, and it is not a handmade item. In terms of these parts, these are not made, they could have been made in the old days in Afghanistan, but they are not just made as a toy, let's say. These are actual working firearms parts at one time. And so the value of these, I think the value is okay. If I bought something like this thinking it was an original English pistol or something like that, I mean, it's no big deal that it's not, because these aren't exactly the most expensive pistols in the world. So that's a look at this one, which would probably be on the very low end of collector pieces, the type of things that you would find there. This pistol right here is a lot more interesting. This gun here is actually almost completely original. This is originally a Spanish, I believe they call it a Miquelete pistol, because it has this weird mechanism on it, which was sort of like you would see on a dog lock, but it's not a dog lock. It's just the Mediterranean style of pistol. This gun, everything I've checked is original. The barrel actually has Roman numerals on it, which is marked 27, and the lock and the other parts are marked 27. Everything on this pistol seems to be correct. It's a little beat up, but everything seems correct. And unlike the other one, you'll see how the wood, there's some gapping in all this, and really that's from just over the years they've gotten worn out, and the wood swells, and that this gun's probably 200 years old, or could be even more. So there's always going to be slight gapping and things like that on it that don't make it mint anymore, pretty much. But the one piece that I'm almost positive is not original is this little clip for your belt. which was quite a popular item for like pirates and Mediterranean type people and mariners and that. And you can see here how the inletting for the clip, how it doesn't even come close to this little hole right here, and also the way it's been tightened in, it's really been forced in there, and that says to me that this probably was broken off and it was replaced by the merchant, or it could have been replaced at any time really. But the way to tell that this is a Khyber pass, which you're almost certain to be a Khyber pass gun, is you'll notice how the gun has no finish at all whatsoever left on it. The other gun is older and it just sort of looks like wear, but this gun looks like it's been polished, and that's very, very common for certain Middle Eastern regions, especially Afghanistan. And I don't know if this is something they do because they just they like it better, if it's caused by the sand and how it brushes off the finish and they just try and polish it up to make it look a little bit nicer, or if it's a status symbol thing, like if you had a shiny pistol, it made you like it would carry more clout, like it would be more prestigious of a thing in the warlord type eras and that. So I don't know if that's why it's common to see them like that, but you'll almost always see it on the Afghanistan made firearms. One of the other things which I can't show, and which makes me unsure if this one on the bottom is positively a Khyber pass gun, because guns from, I've seen quite a few of them, these guns from the Khyber pass, and they almost always smell heavily of WD-40. They are just like bathed every part in WD-40, and it's like a giveaway if you get an AK or Martini Henry, any of those pistols, and it's from Afghanistan, they always have that distinctive smell. Now, I don't know if somebody brought this back and they cleaned it up very well and it's been here for enough years that the smell just sort of evaporated from it, because I really can't smell that on this particular pistol. But that's something that just information that you can if you smell that, you kind of know where it came from. But this is the type of thing that if you go there and you check their markets and that, and you do your research and you know what you're looking for, you might be able to find something like this, an original pistol, almost like it's not mint condition or anything, but it's all complete in how it should be. And this is a 70 caliber pistol, which is quite significant, and I think that its value is quite a bit more than the other display piece. But I just sort of wanted to make a video on these things because these guns, I don't like it being perceived as these guns being just like toys or handmade crude items, because I know they're later guns and that they'll make parts for and that to get them working, but these guns these are original block plates, like the one on the top. Even though the gun might look like nothing, the plate possibly could be over 200 years old, into the 1700s. That makes it kind of significant. It's a nice piece to have. So if you come across any of these pistols and you can get them for a fair deal, I don't think that I would pass it up. I think I would do more research and find out what you actually have. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say about that. If you have any more questions or if you have any more information, you can put in the comments. So thank you for watching.